Which Linux distribution should you actually install? Ask this online and you will probably get 20 different answers. But honestly, there is no single best Linux distribution. The real question is, what should happen when something breaks? Should the system reduce the chance of breakage, let you undo the change, or hand you the tools and expect you to fix it yourself? Different Linux systems answer that question differently. Here are 9 major options worth understanding. Number 1. Ubuntu. Ubuntu's biggest advantage is not simplicity. It is compatibility. Search for a Linux error, a cloud tutorial, or a development setup, and the instructions were probably written for Ubuntu. That means fewer missing packages and less time translating guides written for another distribution. Ubuntu also offers long-term support releases that receive updates for years, so you are not forced through a major upgrade every few months. The controversial part is Snap. Snap packages include their own dependencies and update automatically. Some Snap applications can be slower to start, and Canonical controls the official Snap store and its distribution policies. Ubuntu gives you broad compatibility and long-term support, but Canonical makes several software choices on your behalf. Number 2. Debian. Ubuntu focuses on convenience. Debian focuses on predictability. When Debian calls a release stable, it means the software versions barely change after that point. Security fixes arrive, major new versions mostly wait. For a server, this is often exactly what you want. A newer library might add useful features, or it might break an application that has worked for years. Debian reduces that risk by keeping major versions stable. The trade-off is that the software is often older than what you find on faster-moving distributions. So Debian gives you excellent stability and very few surprises, but expect to run behind on software versions. Number 3. Linux Mint. Mint is built on Ubuntu's long-term support base and inherits most of its compatibility. Its Cinnamon desktop gives you a familiar menu, taskbar, and window controls. You do not need to learn a new interface before you can start learning Linux. Mint also disables Snap by default, preferring Flatpak instead. Flatpak solves a similar problem, but it is not tied to one company and can use repositories from different providers. So Mint gives you a familiar desktop, Ubuntu's compatibility, and more control over software updates. Number 4. Fedora. Debian and Mint play it safe. Fedora moves faster. You get recent kernels, current developer tools, and newer versions of GNOME. Fedora is sponsored by Red Hat and introduces new Linux technologies early, but they are tested before reaching users. One example is SELinux. Normal Linux permissions may allow a program to access a file. SELinux can still block it using a separate layer of security rules. If an application is compromised, there is another barrier limiting the damage. Fedora also releases new versions more frequently than Ubuntu LTS, so major upgrades happen more often. So Fedora gives you modern software and stronger security defaults without becoming a rolling release, where packages update continuously with no fixed version. At this point, all 4 systems still make most decisions for you. The next option changes that completely. Number 5. Arch Linux. A basic Arch installation is intentionally minimal. You choose the desktop, networking, audio tools, and applications you want. The result contains only what you selected, which also means that when something is missing, you are probably the person who forgot to install it. Arch is a rolling release. Packages keep updating instead of waiting for a new system version. Then there is the AUR, the Arch User Repository. The AUR contains community-maintained build scripts for software that is not available in the official repositories. AUR packages are not officially supported by Arch, so inspect the build instructions and user comments before installing anything from it. So Arch gives you total control, current software, and more responsibility when something breaks. Number 6. Kali Linux. Kali is not a general-purpose distribution. It is a security workstation. It includes tools for penetration testing, vulnerability analysis, network inspection, and digital forensics, already grouped and configured for that work. The tools are not a substitute for knowledge. Without understanding networking, permissions, and security concepts, Kali is a menu you do not know how to read. Kali is often run in a virtual machine, a separate computer running inside your main one, from a live USB, or on a dedicated machine, keeping security tools separate from personal data. So Kali gives you a complete security toolkit, but learn Linux on a normal distribution first. Number 7. openSUSE. openSUSE gives you two paths. Leap follows a regular release schedule. Tumbleweed is a rolling release. What makes Tumbleweed interesting is how updates are tested. An automated system called OpenQA checks complete workflows, booting, logging in, opening applications, not just whether individual packages install. Two packages can each work correctly on their own and still cause problems when they arrive together. openSUSE also has Snapper, which takes file system snapshots. If an update damages the system, you can return to a working state instead of reversing every change manually. So openSUSE gives you modern software, carefully tested updates, and a practical undo button for the whole system. So far, every system assumes updates may occasionally need repair. The next category changes the update model itself. Number 8. Atomic or image-based systems. These systems are often called immutable, but atomic or image-based is usually more accurate. Examples include Fedora Silverblue, Bazzite, openSUSE Aeon, and MicroOS. On a traditional system, an update modifies what you are currently running. On an atomic or image-based system, the core is managed as one unit instead of being changed package by package. An update builds a new version alongside the old one. You reboot into it. If something breaks, the previous version is still there. Applications usually live separately as flatpaks or run inside containers, which keep them isolated from the base system and allow them to be managed independently. The trade-off is flexibility. Installing software directly into the base or relying on drivers that modify it requires a different approach. So atomic systems give you safer updates and reliable rollbacks, but less freedom to change the core system directly. Number 9. MX-Linux. MX is often described as Linux for old computers. That only covers part of what makes it useful. The flagship MX edition combines Debian stable with the lightweight XFCE desktop and a set of graphical tools called MX Tools. These let you install drivers, manage repositories, fix boot problems, and take snapshots through a proper interface without needing several terminal commands. MX also supports two different startup systems, giving users more control over how the machine boots. Its live USB support is the standout feature. You can run MX from a drive, keep your changes between sessions, and build your own image with your applications already included. That turns a USB drive into a portable system or a rescue tool for fixing someone else's machine. So MX gives you Debian stability, graphical repair tools, and a system you can carry in your pocket. Before you choose, avoid the most common beginner mistake, picking a distribution from a screenshot. A screenshot shows the desktop, which is one of the easiest things to change. What matters is how often the system updates, where the software comes from, and what happens when something breaks. So here is the simplest summary. For the most tutorials and fewest compatibility problems, choose Ubuntu or Mint. For a system that changes slowly and rarely surprises you, choose Debian. For modern software and stronger security defaults, choose Fedora. For total control over every part of your system, choose Arch. For tested updates and a system-level undo button, choose openSUSE. For a system designed to recover more easily from failed updates, look at Silverblue or Bazzite. For modest hardware, graphical maintenance tools, or a portable rescue system, consider MX-Linux. And for professional security testing, use Kali. But learn Linux on something else first. Do not ask which distribution is the best. Ask which compromise you can live with. Do you want software to move slowly or quickly? Do you want the system making decisions for you or complete control? And when something breaks, do you want to fix it, undo it, or stop it from happening at all? Answer those three, pick the options that match, and try them in virtual machines before you commit to anything. Because the best Linux distribution is the one you eventually stop thinking about.